There is something that silently breaks down a Quran reciter, and that is vocal fatigue. Throat pain, losing your voice, running out of breath. Have you ever felt something like that? The first time it happened, I honestly thought I'd never be able to recite with full energy. But that pain, it became my training ground. And today I am going to share with you exactly what helped me recover and come back strong. Whenever we try to recite Quran, especially in longer session when we are reciting more number of juz, like reciting in Taraweeh, Qiyamul Layl, sometimes it happens is we run out of breath and we have vocal fatigue, a strain in the vocal cords, and that is because of improper breathing. Before going any further, let me just explain why does this happen. How can we control our breath, increase our lungs capacity, and make our vocal cords stronger enough that we can recite Quran for a longer period of time without having strain on our vocal cords. First thing first, you have to train your vocal cords in order to make them strong and develop some endurance. Just thinking and not taking action, it won't going to help you guys. You have to make sure that you are training every single day, and over time you will develop some endurance in your vocal cords and you will be able to recite Quran for a longer period of time. Yes, it might be challenging at first, but if you stay consistent, push yourself every single day but not doing too much like I did, you will eventually build strength in your vocal cords without strain. You know, reciting Quran is not like normal breathing. It requires more breath control and longer exhalation. Let me just break it down. We have three kinds of breathing. Normally when we breathe, when we are speaking, and when we are reciting. So in normal condition, when we are relaxed, we breathe in and breathe out just automatically. That is a normal state. We are just breathing involuntarily without thinking. But when you are speaking, you still breathe normally, but just you have a little bit control over your exhalation because you are trying to complete the sentence when you are exhaling. And because we are used to speaking, so we don't notice this. But when it comes to recitation, we gotta have a control on our exhalation, especially on longer ayah. We need to make sure that we are slowly exhaling so that we are able to complete the ayah. The key here is train yourself to release the air, exhale as slower as you can. In short, you are not just breathing, you are controlling your breath. Think of it as you are holding back the air so that it doesn't rush out all at once. But here's the thing, it's not about having enough air, it's about how you are using that air. And it takes muscle control in two areas, your diaphragm and your voice box. Diaphragm is basically the muscle that is below your lungs. So if you have a control and you train this muscle, you'll have a steady controlled airflow when you are reciting. And your voice box, this is the area where your sound is produced. And that is very important, and most of the time we are having pain in our voice box, our vocal cords basically. When we are speaking or reciting and we are unable to control the air, then we will sound like, hello, how are you? How are you doing? Hello. This is the kind of sound you will produce when you are unable to control the air. And usually this is because of improper closing of the vocal cords. If you close the vocal cords and don't allow the air, then your sound will be like, how are you? Hello. Here you can see that I am not allowing the air to come out. That's why sound is not producing correctly. And you can see the pressure here. And all of the reciters that are reciting effortlessly the long ayah, the mud and everything, they have a really good control over these two muscles. And you need to train these muscles, guys. And for beginners, I would suggest if you are a runner, if you do running or jogging, then you are definitely training your diaphragm. You will definitely enhance your lung capacity that you can store more air if you practice running. I basically did that. I was a runner and I used to run every single day for 20 minutes, 30 minutes straight, and this helped me a lot. If you enhance the lung capacity, still you need some training. In order to use that air that you store in your lungs, you need to practice recitation. Because as I told you, having enough air doesn't matter. You need to be able to use that air so that you can recite. And that is where you need to train your vocal cords. But if you can't run or you don't like running, then I have a practice for you. What you can do is you can count. And this is something that yogis practice, and people who are good in yoga, who do yoga on daily basis, they have really good control over this. What you have to do is you have to first take a long breath, inhale, and you have to count this 1, 2, and you inhale. Continuously, you have to inhale for 5 seconds. And then you stop for 5 seconds. One, two, three, four, five. And then you exhale for 5 seconds. Just like that. You have to do this. And you have to keep repeating this inhale, exhale practice. Eventually, I've seen people who are good yogis, they can do up to 11 seconds. This practice only enhance the capacity of your lungs. In order to be able to use that air that you store in your lungs, you have to practice reciting. You have to dedicate on daily basis 10-15 minutes, and during this time you have to recite out loud, louder enough so that people can listen to you. Subhanallah, this reminds me of an incident when I used to do hifd. In my madrasa, I had a friend who was actually my senior basically, and then he became my friend eventually. We were sitting and reciting, and one fine day I was sitting beside him. He recited so loud. He was reciting so loud that I couldn't able to concentrate on what I was revising, memorizing. So I just out of curiosity, but I just asked him. I was afraid, but I asked him, why do you recite so loud? I can't able to concentrate, brother. He smiled and told me his story. He told me that when he was new in madrasa, his voice was too soft, too low, and whenever he recited to the sheikh always complained that I can't hear you properly, a bit louder, a bit louder. And his maximum voice was so low that he no one can able to understand what he was saying. And he told me that sheikh thought that I am doing this deliberately. Some of the students deliberately do this so that sheikh doesn't able to understand the mistake that they are making, so they don't get the punishment. But it wasn't the case for him. He genuinely had a low voice. So one day he told me that sheikh punished him, and that punishment changed his life. When we were sitting in the madrasa, pointing to the gate of the madrasa, he told me that sheikh said to me, you have to sit there. Sheikh made him sit there and told him that you will stay there until I can't hear you properly. He became so emotional and angry. I mean, he became frustrated. Because of that anger, that frustration, he started reciting, and that recitation was like he was shouting at the top of his lung, and this changed everything completely for him. And he told me that what seemed like shouting back then now became my normal recitation. That is the reason whenever I recite, I recite it like that. People think that I'm shouting, but this is my normal. So he became effortless, guys. This kind of training he did. At that time he also didn't know. I'm sure he didn't know what he was doing. Basically his vocal cords become so strong that he recite so loud effortlessly. About the importance of our vocal cords, I realized this when I started to rememorize Quran after 8 years. Last year when I started rememorizing Quran, at the first day I recited like normally I recite. But because my vocal cords were not used to reciting Quran, very next day my throat was so much hurting, so much tired that I couldn't able to talk properly. That is when I realized you need to train your vocal cords on daily basis. If you leave the training, like if you leave the gym or you leave the exercise regime that you are following, after some time you will observe that you can't able to lift the weight that you used to lift, or you can't able to run the miles that you used to run. So training is really important. What I do is normally on YouTube we have these short videos. Usually reciter in those short videos, they recite in one breath. So what I do is every week I download one short video and I practice every day for a few minutes, and I try to complete that recitation. At the beginning I just able to complete half of the like 20-second, 25-second, but the complete video is 40 or 35. So I every day I keep on trying, and at some point I reach that level. And my max breath capacity is 35 to 40 seconds. I even uploaded a short video recording my recitation of one breath. It took me almost 2 to 3 weeks that I reached that level. So my advice is simple: don't just recite. Train yourself to recite. Start small, stay consistent, and push yourself every single day. Only then you will be able to see the results. Whether it's vocal endurance, breath control, or clarity of tone, this is not something that you are born with. You have to train yourself to reach that level. That is what I think. And trust me, guys, when you are finally able to reach that level where you are effortlessly reciting Quran in a single flow, in a single breath, effortlessly, and without the strain on your vocal cords, then you will realize that all of this struggle was worth it. That was it, guys. Thank you so much for watching this video. I was trying to help you here. Anything else you want to know, let me know and I can make a video on that. And I'll see you in the next video.